Hello, good evening. I see like 5 people front running me again. I am so predictable. How are you guys doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Ah, man. It has actually been a while. It's been stressful at home. Baby number 2 is getting very close, and I have to do much more work. Usually, my wife handles all the housework. She enjoys it, or like I would say like 90%, and now it's me because I'm not gonna. I mean, it's still like a good chunk her actually because she forces me to, but as in like she forces herself to and forces me to not do it, but um, I have to do a lot more now. Gotta give the woman in our lives respect. That's some serious work right there. But yeah, it's been stressful, and it's gonna get more stressful. I cannot promise that I'll be here next week. It looks like the baby might be coming before then, but we'll see. We'll see. What's the chore you hate the most? Well, that's a hard one. Um, I actually don't know. Probably like washing and drying clothes because it's just never ending. Beautiful Wednesday today, yeah. uh, do you think Bitcoin follows money supply? No, I don't think so. The people are always posting that chart and don't really think so. Do we have any necromancer? I'm scared. Yeah, he's gonna be gone for a while. I think he has been very busy in life. He does not care about us enough. I'm sorry to say. Yeah. I mean, the whole money supply thing, people always, like, the moment people talk about it, it's useless. Um, but yeah, anyway, before we start the show, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring it. Really appreciate their support. Um, if you want to support them for supporting us, their links are in the description. Um, yeah. I'm super tired. I'm super out of it, but I'll still do my best. And given I've cut the previous shows short, I'll do the full hour this time. I think we'll see if there's enough to talk about. I'll try at least. If I get too tired, I'm gonna nuke it. If I start losing my English abilities, I'm already struggling. Then I'll cut it short. Finally, I'm live dabei. Welcome, man. Welcome. Um, will Doge have another run? I'm not so sure. I'm not. I'm not the biggest fan of anything that Elon has touched. I think it's a toxic touch at this point. Even even the Republicans are kind of like moving away from him now. It seems like to me. I think generally, otherwise, yes, I think it is the meme coin index of sorts, and I mean, generally, it's not a bad chart. Like long time frame. Like if you compare it to the Bitcoin chart, you can see that it's outperformed Bitcoin basically since 2014. Like it's up in the last 10 years against Bitcoin. Um, Basically has double the returns even at this point right now. So it's quite impressive. But the fact that like maybe once the whole Elon influence bleeds out, maybe it comes back. But until then, not so sure. is Don still in ETH? I have not changed any positioning. One, I don't have the time or energy for it, and two, like I'm not gonna do any big moves when it's all reliant on a politician or some politicians in America making decisions. Don't really feel like I have necessarily like the strongest politician edge in the world. Don has waifu, one child, one coming, and still here, and Cred doesn't care about us anymore. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I have no excuses for him anymore. But I'm here on a Friday, no less. Anyway, let's run through the big coins first, and then go from there. Okay. So Bitcoin on the monthly. Honestly, the monthly doesn't look that bad. It front ran support, which I always appreciate. I generally like that. We did the same here. We had the support. We front ran it a little bit, rounded out, and then ran. In this case here, we actually hugged the support, and that made me much more nervous. Now we're kind of like doing the front running part again. Now, obviously, this could just be like a pause. We could just be somewhere here where we're pausing, like we have the downtrend, we pause, and then we just nuke. And I think that would be the case if the whole tariff talks get more concrete and just don't end. But unless that is the case, I think there's a good chance that the bottom is in. The problem, like I said, is like it's really, really hard to guess what Trump and the leadership in the White House is gonna do, right? And they have a huge impact. And I mean, a lot of people keep commenting, why do you talk about the politics so much? And the reason why is because all short-term price action right now is entirely reliant on politics. And that is kind of what happens when you have a world leader or the world leader. I mean, there's a reason why America is always kind of like the center of attention. It's because it's just the biggest economy. Does crazy stuff, right? Like when you have that and like puts himself in the middle, like the leader of America puts himself in the center of attention and does stuff that is at least traditionally considered as crazy, then I mean that just has more of an impact than anything else, right? So you'll see that on low time frames. You have up and down moves based on the new comments that Trump has made or anyone from his administration, right? Which basically can ruin any good chart. But I'll focus on the TA for now, just because it's really hard to make comments on whether Trump is gonna stop with the tariffs or not. I think he is actually going to. It's just gonna take longer than people expect. I don't think there's any winning in the tariff game, in my opinion. I think it's either him that's gonna fold or Congress or the people, by just starting to hate him. I think the moment people get very loud, he's kind of gonna have to stop, right? And I think if the pain continues, that would come, and the pain can only continue with the tariffs. Like there's no world in which you just get tariffs and there's no more pain to come, right? So basically we're in this situation where if he continues, there's more pain, and if there's more pain, he's gonna have to ease up, and then like you just have to hope that he doesn't go like, and this is something that we've seen with like the pause in tariffs, where it's like we nuke, it's too bad in nuke, so Trump eases up, and then he's like, we had the best stock market price action that we've ever had, and then he starts doing the tariff thing again, and like you walk it down like that would obviously not be fun, right? But I'm just gonna have to hope that the moment he basically people tell him to fuck off, he actually does. on the tariff front. Otherwise, like everything probably keeps going down. But that I cannot really say what is going to happen. It's really hard to predict what Trump is going to do. So we're just going to focus on TA. We are in a bull market or bear market? I mean, we're in a bull market still. Just look at this monthly, right? So we went from 16K basically without any pullback. We had two consolidations here, all the way to 100. So 16 to 100K, insane rally. And we had one red month, basically. This is all it is at this point, right? One red month. We had a red month here too. Traded around that low for like 6 months or something. We're trading around the low of that month too. Been 2 months. Maybe we do it for 4 more months like we did here. Maybe not. But right now this is clearly a bull market. The problem is price has to go really bad for this to turn into a bear market, right? Like you have to go towards like 40K and then you can be like, hey, this is a bear market. But at that point, the dip's probably through. And if it's the start of a bear market and keeps going lower, it's the end of us, right? It's just how it goes when you have price go vertical like this. Like where do you actually start entering a bear market? Not on the first red monthly candle, but also like if you get another 2 or 3 of those, because this is a log chart. If you turn off log, this is quite an aggressive candle. It's just in relative terms, it's not that bad. So yeah, the whole discussion is a bull, is a bear market is kind of like meaningless because it depends on the time frame you're looking at. And you can be in the bull market while being like in a smaller time frame bear market. And I think a lot of people would say like, hey, we've been in the bear market for a while now. And they're like looking at the 4-hour chart and they're like, look, that was the high. And you have a low here, high here, low here, high here, low here, high here, low here, high here. And then they're like, that's a bear market. And then you have someone that zooms out and it's like, there's literally just one red monthly candle. And then you have someone that zooms out even more and you go on the 3 month and you're like where's those, like where are those bear markets that you talked about, right? Like there's just like one red candle here, there was one here, one here. Like what are you talking about, right? So basically like you have a red candle, you have 2 green, red candle, 2 green, a red candle, 2 green, a red candle. Right, ignoring this is actually even green, right? So like you cannot really call this a bear market, right? When you get like 3 months upside, another 3 months upside, 3 months downside, 6 months upside, 3 months downside, 6 up, like whatever. Like this is like anyone would laugh at you at it, but also like if you're sitting through the drawdowns, not so fun. And then the further you zoom out, the funnier it gets talking about bear markets, bull markets. Anyway, the monthly front running support, which is nice. Rounding out, which is nice. We did the same thing here, right? So chart wise, I think this is actually quite constructive. It's not a bad chart. It starts going hyper bullish above like 97, 96K. But I don't mind it here. Like I said, if there was no headline risk, I think this would be an excellent place to take trades on the high time frames. On the weekly time frame, similar story. It's not that bad. Obviously broke the range to the downside. Like this is more bearish than the monthly, obviously, given we had a consolidation that broke to the downside. Pretty close to reclaiming the whole breakdown. That would turn it quite bullish. I think a close above 90K would be very, very bullish. But at the current state of everything, that would need like at least a pause or like a reversal of some of the tariffs. Do you feel like XRP can drop below $1 ever again? I mean, ever again? Yeah, I think it's going to go to 0 at some point. I just don't think this cycle is it. Like, I'm expecting it to go to zero at some point down the line. But I also expect ETH, Solana, all of your favorite coins to go to zero. Trump going to zero. Like, over a long enough time period, all of those will go to zero. Hey, Don, what do you think about Atom? Nothing. I haven't looked at it. Don't think about it. But we can look at it in a second. But I don't really think about Atom at all. But yeah, basically above 90K, this looks really, really good. TA wise, it's nice that we're front running the support. That's kind of like what I would like to see maintained. We start testing the support. It starts looking really dicey to me. It's good that we're front running it. We're not putting in new closes like we had like this wick to the downside here. And we haven't closed below it. Usually I get this setup on any other time in basically if the macro situation was different, if it was easier to predict what was gonna happen on the grand stage, this would always be long for me. Whenever you get these like big wipeouts and then you get a close and a wipe below the wipeout, like the close at the wipeout, like at the wick, and then a wick below it, I usually try to buy below that, which would be in that wick somewhere. And then basically invalidation is where the wick was, and then the target is much higher. Like that's how I usually trade. In this instance, I didn't do it. One, because I already have a position of sorts, and two, because I'm way too busy. And three, because the macro situation is so damn unclear. It's really hard right now to judge whether we're going towards like just general market nukage for like just a couple more years, or if all this craziness is gonna stop. Really hard to say. But like that's a decent bullish setup in my opinion. But it is still in bear territory, right? We're still trading below the range. We get back in the range, nice, like that's the range. And we can start talking about this kind of move where it reclaims the range and it just squeezes further. Until it is back in the range, it's a little bit more risky, especially given headline risk, like I said. On the daily time frame, I drew a really straight line. Is that actually like, I'm so dumbfounded by that. I cannot draw a straight line. It might be the first time I've ever drawn a straight line on TradingView with by hand. Anyway, it's also not that bad. It's not great. I generally think also on the daily, you want to close back above 90K, kind of chopping around the breakdown level. Very, very close to being really, really good, but not quite there yet, right? So we're pushing back into this area here. Tested it a million times, start running back up, maybe even go above 88K, and I think there's a good chance 90K breaks, right? So like this is a good area for bears to step in, because I think if it goes any higher, there's a good chance that we're just gonna squeeze a bunch. So yeah, all is not lost, but it's not the cleanest charts, and it's obviously not like low time frame. It's not bullish yet. It still needs to do a little bit of work. Technical Roundup is back. Top signal. I mean, I never left. It's just creds ran. Do you think he's trying to force the Fed to change rate policies? I mean, if he is, he's a moron. But yes, somewhat. I mean, he's trying to. I mean, basically, in my opinion, and people are going to hate again, but Trump seems to do something and kind of has like a strategy for the next 3 days, and then something crazy happens and he's like, oh shit, let me respond to this. And then he has a strategy for that for 3 days, and then people kind of jump over themselves, being like, "Oh, the whole tariff thing was just to put the screws on China," but it started off with like the partners of the US getting tariffed, and then everyone in the admin is like, yeah, it was always just for China, and then like 3 days later, the messaging is completely different. Like it's impossible to guess what their actual strategy is, because I think they just don't have one, like not a coherent one. They just come up with one on the fly. Like whenever something comes up that they like, they just run with it. If Trump causes a recession before he abandons tariffs, would we be screwed even if he does a U-turn? Depends on how bad it gets, yeah. I mean, he can, if he continues doing what he's been doing, he's gonna crash the markets full stop, like completely. Gonna be worse than COVID if he continues. So I hope he has, like, he cares enough about his standing in the world and his reputation that he's just gonna stop at some point. In your opinion, is this macro situation long-term bullish for crypto, or maybe only Bitcoin? I don't think it's bullish for anything. It's bad, like just generally bad. It's bad for markets. It's bad for security. It's bad for everything, basically. I think it's bad for science. It's bad for basically like communities. It's bad for literally everyone. Just spreading hate, basically. It's not good. If you were American, who would you vote for in the next election? I hope they just don't, like, I hope they just put up two people that are not clowns, right? Like there's so many, in my opinion, right? And I hate that this turns into a political thing again, but I think there's so many like candidates on the conservative side that they could have ran that are just like sane people, more on the conservative side, more like traditional, but totally like decent people. And I think on the Democratic side, like there's also more interesting people than that they ran with, but they just ran with clowns. It's something that the world is generally very used to. Like it's kind of funny when I hear like Americans supporting their leader in charge. If you do this in Europe, you get laughed at. Like even if your party wins, like your party, you fucking hate them. Everyone hates every politician in Europe. I think that's a little bit more healthy than just making excuses for your leader as you go. But yeah, it's even bad for USA. I mean, it's especially bad for the USA, in my opinion. Anyway, that's the chart. I don't hate it, to be fair. Like just taking every headline risk away, I don't hate it. I would like it if we didn't have this whole tariff situation. The tariff situation, one thing that it does is it introduces upside potential. The moment it stops, you're gonna get a big green candle. It's just a question of when and if the market breaks before it does happen. Because if the market breaks, obviously like that green candle might just take you back to break even at best, and then you're kind of shit out of luck. But like you have a little bit of like a squeeze factor to the upside, but also, like I said, if it's continued, everything's just going to nuke to oblivion, right? So that's the current situation. TA wise, not so bad, but the weekly and the daily obviously broke their ranges. But like when you get range breaks, right? When you get a range break, it's no matter which direction, right? I've talked about this in the bullish side often. Like when you get this and then you chill here, like that gets me really nervous on the bullish side of things. Usually this doesn't turn out well. Like very often this just does this and then just fucks off back in the range. Whereas on the bearish side of things, this is kind of what we're going through. You had the range, you broke down, we retest it here, we come back down, we retest again. Like at some point, I would be really like nervous as a bear, just because we really shouldn't be coming back this often if it was actually bearish. Like when you get a proper range break, usually this thing is supposed to move fast, right? Like you get a proper range break, this is what's supposed to happen, right? Like proper move to the downside. Otherwise, when you get a range break that doesn't have follow through, something like this happens, and that's obviously not what you want to have as a bear, right? Like when it breaks down, this is not what we're going through right now, obviously, but like we have had these situations before plenty of times, and usually the move is supposed to be swift and not just like hanging out. So basically, for example, here you had a range of sorts, you break it down, you come back, you come back, you come back, you come back, and then you just explode to the upside. I hate ranges that break out like this, because technically it's bearish, technically it's bullish, but it just doesn't have me convinced, either of those, right? So TAA wise, I don't find this so terrible. Does have some work to do to get bullish, but it's not that bad. Just need Trump to stop. My take is that Trump is serious about the trade stuff. We shouldn't fade it. The situation depends more on if Europe and others make deals than on any possible change on Trump's point of view intentions. I actually think Trump actually believes that tariffs are good. He's been talking about it for like 20, 30, 40 years. He doesn't really understand them. He has some advisors that are really smart people. But I mean, on the Trump side of things, like he clearly doesn't really understand what the tariffs do and the whole implications of them. He just thinks it's a good thing. He's always thought it's a good thing. So I do agree with you that he's serious about it, because he's been saying for 20, 30, 40, I don't remember like when he actually started it, but it's like more than 20 years ago. He's been saying that we should just be tariffing everyone. He thinks this is a good thing. It's clearly not. Just need to see what happens. And like just generally, like free markets is so much better, especially if you use tariffs just as the admin has been doing right now, which is just blanket tariffs. Makes no sense. Like if you protect vulnerable like industries, that makes a lot of sense, right? You're like, oh, I don't want to, like if shit hits the fan, I would like to have some people doing farming and doing like agriculture in my country, so I don't rely on other countries to feed my population. So I would like to make sure that those farmers are protected. Makes a lot of sense, right? But when you do it to everything from a country, it makes very little sense, unless you want to get into like a whole trade war thing. But there's no winning really nowadays anymore in that. Market Wednesday on Friday, nice. Yeah, Wednesday was crazy. Didn't have time for it. Wanted to do it yesterday, but was also crazy. I found a little bit of time today. Hey Don, so you pretty much need to start planning the third duckling now to be a real Scrooge McDuck. I'm quite good with two, and my wife is at least right now very good with two. She's had the roughest pregnancy. First one was easy, second one was very hard. So she's like, I've had enough. So we'll see. Very unlikely to get more than what we have. Don, can you tell me an upside target for Doge if things don't die and Bitcoin breaks up? I don't really know, because I just don't like Doge. Like you can target 0.22. That's a decent resistance level, but I just don't like Doge. It's probably gonna do well anyway. Don't listen to me on this, but it's just like I don't know. Like the whole Elon thing is just a recipe for disaster. I can feel how the public perception of him is changing. rapidly for the worse, much worse. So, and he's the face of Doge, just for better or worse. If he wasn't, I mean, this used to be my favorite coin to trade, right? So, but right now, I just don't know. ETH still struggling. 12 days to rescue this monthly. Definitely needs to close above here. Otherwise, that's not that great. We talked about the weekly, and I was like, I needed to close above here, and that's still the case. I would like to see a monthly close above the green box into a weekly close above this 2K level, and then we can start talking about being bullish ETH. Before then, it's a little bit rough. Full capitulation ongoing now on ETH BTC. Finally getting that speed up that we were talking about for years beforehand. But like I always say, like capitulation can go much longer than you think. So it's hard to pinpoint when exactly it is gonna bottom. And I think the ETH USD chart is gonna be the best indicator of that. And a little bit of strength would go a long way. XRP closed back in the old range, which is nice, barely, but did so. Still just, I mean, that's just a bullish chart. It's one of the few ones that's just still good. Also decent on the daily time frame. I like the chart. I don't like the coin, I like the chart. It's proper washed out now too, even beyond like the wick that we had down here. Which is usually, I mean, I told you guys earlier, this setup I like a close at the bottom of the wick usually would be an entry signal for me. I already have a position. I have had a position since 0.6-ish. So yeah, have a little bit of leeway on that. What do you think we need to have at 200 Bitcoin, at 200K Bitcoin this year, the dollar failing? I don't think we're going to get it this year unless the dollar fails, which to be fair, like macro wise, I wouldn't give it 0% chances. If you asked me last year, I would have been like, there's 0% chance that the dollar is going to go down in flames. This year, I would give it 0 point something chance, but there's still a chance this year. Now, all jokes aside though, like it's actually kind of crazy how much the dollar's been getting nuked on all fronts. The euro's just giga mooning. It's quite like this nice for me because I pulled a bunch of my crypto money out of the market, and I mean, given I'm from Europe, I basically benefited from this. But it's also not so nice because all my crypto is denominated in USD, and like my bags are barely holding. And then you lose on the dollar front too. Not so, like, it's just how it is. It's why we diversify, right? If you only hold crypto, this is obviously not the nicest. But I don't think 200K is happening this year. It's also crazy how strong Bitcoin is, even compared to US stocks. Yeah, I think like Bitcoin's been holding quite well. Considering what's been going on in the world, Bitcoin's holding quite well. But then again, like gold's been, look at this has been the gold chart. So you could argue Bitcoin's been failing what it set out to do. What do you think about hype? Still the same story. Like people keep asking me about hype. And I'm like, I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Like that was a clean breakdown, led to like a big move to the downside. Now recovered a bunch. Like now it's not a bad chart anymore. I don't hate the chart. Like you have these kind of setups on a lot of them. It's the same with Fartcoin. Someone asked for Fartcoin, where you get like these nice moves. And then you had like yesterday and today you had a little bit of down move and people start freaking out again. But it's kind of crazy. Like this went from 0.2 all the way up to like $1, which is like, that's a decent gain, right? That's the 5x right there. Almost like in the vicinity of prior all-time high, which is like, that's strong. That's exactly what you want to see. You want to see the coins that are holding. XRP is one. You have a bunch of them basically, like Altcoin, like Hype, the ones that are recovering strong. That's nice. It's just, we do need to see a little bit of a easing on the whole trade war tensions, and then we're in for some good price action. So someone has to get to Trump and tell him to fuck off with the shit he's been doing, and then we're good. We get another leg. If he doesn't, we don't, most likely. But TA wise, there's a few good looking coins out there, in my opinion. The three mentioned, decent enough. Solana back in the range. We talked about this last week or the week before, where I was like, I really wouldn't want to buy 125 again, because it's been tested so many times. We washed out below it, and now we're trading back above it, which that is nice, right? So like, we have a lot of setups. Crypto is ready to run. We just need the man in charge to go easy on us, and then they actually will run. But if he doesn't, there's just gonna be a failed recovery, and then the next move is gonna be even more brutal. Personally, I think Atom is at the lowest and can only go up. I mean, then you're in the wrong industry, my friend. If you think something can only go up, you are in the wrong industry. Because that's not how it works. People said Solana is at the lowest at $80, and it can only go up. And then it went to 30, and then they were like, this is the floor, it can only go up. And then it went to 8, and then they capitulated, and then it went all the way back up. It's the worst attitude to have. Like, if you're convinced that something cannot go down, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's long term gonna basically zero you out. Good luck with baby number 2. Hope all goes well and you both get used to the new situation quickly. We love you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Very kind message. But yeah, that's basically the situation on all fronts. We've had a little bit on like Popcat with, like, where do I have Popcat even? Yeah, both of those bounced a bunch after going down like basically to zero. Memes had a little bit of a resurgence. I mean, led by Altcoin. Fucking hell. Like, that was a nice 2x on Popcat. It's still down like from the high. Like, that's just how it is, right? Still down 88%. Already 2x'd. I think these are nice mean reversions. But like I said, they don't mean anything unless the macro situation changes. Any thoughts on Litecoin? Litecoin sadly kind of just ruined the setup. It is leaning on support right now. So like basically there was this whole setup here, like triangle breakout, and that turned into a false breakout, into a breakdown, into back to support, right? So still leaning very, very heavy on that triangle support. 12 days to go. Start losing that. We've already done that once. Wouldn't be such a nice thing to do. And on the Litecoin Bitcoin front, that's also quite brutal. Popcat looks better than WIF, to be honest. I mean, much better, yeah. This is the WIF chart. That's the Popcat chart. They're both shit, but one of them looks like it's going to zero. The other one looks like maybe there's a recovery possible. Have you ever met someone in real life who recognized you as Don? Yeah, multiple people. But also mostly at like crypto events. But when people hear me speak, they're like, oh, is it you? And I'm like, yeah. Maybe even into the negative. Can that happen? I mean, oil did, but no, crypto cannot go negative. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's not really that much going on, to be fair, on the altcoin front. I don't think too much is very interesting right now. Everyone is just holding their breath for the whole S&P situation. Yeah, it's just a macro kind of year. I actually think it's gonna be a macro year where the crypto flows are gonna largely depend on the macro situation, which means that some of the edges that you may or may not have built are gonna stop working, and some new ones will show up. Where's Cred? The man is a mystery. No, I think like in a month maybe he comes back. he's been busy, and I've just been here. The sad part is that I mean, baby number 2 might put a stop to me being able to do this regularly. We'll see how much energy I have. Who's Cred? Man. Oh. Do you think we might get the altcoin season that looked possible in February but got halted from tariffs? I don't know. I would like it, but unless something major shifts, I think that's a tall order. Generally, until we get a little bit, either we get like just a little bit more pumpage in crypto generally, like maybe Trump starts pumping crypto. Wouldn't be the first time. Maybe then, or if the tariff stops, I think at that point you're gonna have a bunch of oversold stuff. But the whole narrative about altcoins has been bruised and battered, and I don't think they necessarily have taken all the pain that they can. They've taken a lot, but there's more as long as the market doesn't improve. It looked so good in February, Don. What the fuck? Yeah, I mean, it's just how it is. We're set up, yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, you see these kind of setups, right? And people are always like, so obvious, right? Like, you see the setup, and people are like, this is the range breakdown and a reclaim. It's so obvious. But all this basically does, like, this is a nice setup, right? And then every other star needs to align for this setup to play out. And then oftentimes you get like this, and then it just bleeds out. The setup never plays out, and people are like, yeah, I mean, what did you expect, this downtrend after all? Or you go up and people are like, what did you expect, this false breakdown, right? But all this kind of setup is basically just like the possibility that if something good happens, that this plays out, right? And then you kind of take a gamble on that possibility, and you put your stop loss. You're like, okay, this might be it, right? So you have your stop loss somewhere there. You bet on this possibility playing out, and you have a little bit more of an edge than just blindly betting, because your invalidation is actually like one where the market basically, whenever you get like these possibilities of reversal, if they fail, the market usually dumps aggressively, right? So basically you put yourself in a position where you're either very right, or you're just very wrong, and that's much better than being like slightly right or slightly wrong, right? So let's say you take a trade, and basically you long the range low, it does this and it comes back up. You get stopped out because the range low didn't hold, and then it like chops around here, and you were like not really right, not really wrong, because your invalidation sucked, and nothing changed by you being stopped out, right? Like, the market didn't change one bit, but you lost a bunch of money. Whereas, let's say in this situation, if this setup fails, the market kind of does change, right? Like, if it goes back down, it starts breaking this for real, there's a good chance that you like get a massive move to the downside. So you have the possibility to just jump on that, like a discounted Solana if you like Solana, or like just generally like you long here in these kind of instances, and the market changes from a downtrend to an uptrend, and then suddenly you bought here and it like puts in a proper rally and you like make it 2x, 3x, whatever. And then the market significantly changed, in which you just make a bunch of money. When you pick random spots in the chart and then you have random invalidations, you have the problem that you can lose money, but the market hasn't changed. And this is why you want to always look for those like situations in like markets generally, where if you see like if this and this happens, then something significant is changing. And that's kind of like the places where you want to take bets. It's at least how I approach it, because at that point, the upside is much like the upside that you get if you're right is large, and if you're wrong, there's a good chance that you're just gonna get a better setup further lower, or opposite on the short side, obviously. Where did you learn trading from? I just did it mostly. I mean, I watched a bunch of trading content similar to what you guys are doing right now, and maybe similar to what you guys might be thinking. I was like, these people are morons. Like, I still remember this very, very clearly. I was like, this makes no sense. Like, just logically, like, this makes no sense. People were like, oh, if you see this candle structure, like if the candle closes like this, then you're gonna get the reversal, whatever. And I was like, this makes no sense. Like, the fuck, these people are like drawing patterns and like making, like saying, oh, because you have like the head and shoulders, it has to go up. Like, it's confirmed a breakout here, and because of that, it has to go up. And then they could not explain like, hey, why is this actually a bullish thing? Why is this like supposed to go up? And all that kind of shit. I was like, this is just stupid. Makes no sense to me why you should be looking out for patterns instead of like understanding what this actually means, right? And what it actually just means, I mean, at least in my opinion, is basically like you make a low and then you don't manage, like the next push lower doesn't manage to make a new low. And then you can make an argument, hey, you have a higher low here. You have a bunch of equal highs, like you've pushed into those a bunch of times. The sellers are like, there's just not enough sellers to push this back down. And then you get like an explosive move. But oftentimes, like the pattern traders, they enter like the moment you have like an impulse candle here, and they're like, this is confirmed head and shoulders, and this has to go like have a big move now. But oftentimes what it does in these instances is it moves like this, and then it just dumps, right? Like, it basically liquidates all the people that were shorting here, and then it just fucking dumps. And I mean, it makes sense, right? And then I would look, and this was early crypto days, and I was like, okay, like if this happens over and over and over again, like what's the reason for that? And can I take advantage of it? Can I bet on a higher low occurring before it actually occurs, and all that kind of shit, right? And then I was like, okay, this makes sense to me more so than just being like, I need to look out for this kind of pattern, and then it needs to have an impulse to the upside on a breakout, and then I need to jump in on that breakout. And I was like, this makes no sense. Makes no sense to me. And basically, so I looked, like I saw a bunch of content, and and then sometimes someone would be saying something that would make sense to me, where I was like, okay, this is actually just logical, and I would incorporate it into my trading or into what I was doing. And oftentimes I would hear stuff that didn't make any sense, and if someone just kept saying stuff that made no sense, I would just stop listening to them and look for someone new to learn from, and then go from there. But most of the stuff is just looking at the market and making sense of it by myself. I think that's just you just need to find what kind of like what makes like how you tick, and how you like to approach the markets, and what you're good at. Because like anyone that tries to sell you a formula, you have to trade this and that way to make money, has no idea, one, how people works, and two, how markets work. So like, that's how I look at it. But obviously, like, everyone has, and there's probably pattern idiots that like maybe they make consistent money, and they're like, hey, this dude is fucking moron. Like, he doesn't understand that you need to look for you need to look for the pattern of like the head and shoulders or the Quasimodo or the fucking church bell, pigeon, duck, dinosaur pattern. And then if you see the dinosaur pattern, it has to go up or down, like maybe. Done for the low time frame warriors. How would you go about growing an account on the low time frames, 4 hours and under these days, if you had all the time? So you make an account on Truth Social. You follow the Trumps. You basically see if you can get close to people that are close with the Trumps. And then you try to kind of like weasel your way into groups that are close with them or have like insider information. And then you go from there. I think that's the biggest edge you can have for the next 2 or 3 years. Because there's clearly a lot of insider trading going on. And there's clearly a lot of people that are making a bunch of money based on this. So you just basically run with that. Like you get as close to the ruling power out there as you can. And then you just take advantage of that fact. I'm actually surprised how little people take advantage of this. If this was me in 2017, 2018, and if I like had no conscience, this is exactly what I would be doing. Like I'm surprised that there's not a Discord group where people just get all the Trump stuff that they can find, like autistically go through everything they can find and then take as much advantage of that information as possible. Like I don't think it's that difficult. Like you get like 20, 30, 40 people that are like just completely obsessed, and you just kind of like give each other information as much as you can, and you just kind of like go about doing that. And then you do that for the next 2-3 years. I think you're not going to get any better edge low time frame trading than that. I think that's the easiest. Any patterns, any whatever. Like right now, it's news trading, right? Like you can see it. Like I've said it for weeks now. Like it's all news trading, and it's all dependent on the people in charge, on the Trumps, and you can take advantage of that. So anyway, I mean it's annoying, right? Like for me at least, like someone that has an edge trading without doing any of that shit. For me, it's just not the world I want to be in. I'm too old for that shit. I don't want to read the tweets. I don't want to read the hate. I don't want to, like, it just depresses me. Like the more I see of it, the more depressed I get. But like if I was still young and hungry, I mean, and I wanted to make as much money as I can possible, I think that's a good way. I hate news trading. Yeah, I mean, me too. I don't like it, but it is the way right now. It will stop again. The more this continues, the less of an impact all of these antics will have. But as long as Congress and like the Supreme Court in a way doesn't kind of like take some power away from Trump, this is gonna continue. You can't trade your high time frame style in this high time frame style in this environment. I mean, you can trade the high time frames. It's not like much has changed. Like, look, we have like world-changing tariffs, and Bitcoin's trading at 85k. It's down 10, 15k from 100k. It's not like there's been like you can trade high time frames. It's just there's obviously a bunch of risk involved. I think if anything, you cannot trade the normal low time frame edges that you had as before. And mid time frames are also very iffy, but overall you can still trade it. Anyway, hope that helped. I don't know if it does. I hope we go back to the world in which I have more edge and more interesting things to say. But thanks for coming by anyway, listening to me ramble. At some point, maybe I can convince Cred to come back. Might need to fly over there, but cannot do so in any time soon. because I'm going to be busy myself. But yeah, it's been fun hanging out with you guys again. Much love. Big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Like I said at the beginning, their links are in the description. And yeah, stay safe out there. Don't do anything stupid with leverage. Try to survive, and easier times will come. That I can promise you. At least in the markets. In real life, I don't know. We'll see. Much love. See you guys. Bye-bye.